All right, sorry about that, everybody. This is take two. Ryan from the Spittin Seeds podcast giving you guys a full MLB slate video. Sorry about that first video. It is like 95 degrees in this house, so I had to get something a little set up. So if I'm here for 45 minutes, you don't see me just sweating bullets the entire time. Trust me, no one wants that. Quick little review. The free plays aren't doing too well. I think we're like 1-4. And really it's just been kind of going against the grain. The last one was San Fran Giants. First five, we laid a run line on them, and they ended up just ending up 0-0. So that's always tough when the pitcher delivers, but you don't have any offense. Kind of roll with the punches and just onward. Today's slate, we have an early game that I like. I think the value is kind of on the Cleveland Guardians here with Tristan McKenzie going against Johnny Cueto and the Chicago White Sox. Obviously, we get the and kind of a rest first half at least for the White Sox. You right off the rip do not see Tim Anderson leading off. You see Josh Harrison. So I think it's just a little bit more value on the Guardians there. Looking for my page again. Essentially, a team doesn't strike out, put the ball in play. The White Sox also just kind of been the team that disappoints on paper, at least. They should be hitting way better than they actually do. And I get also there was a little bit of injuries. Eloy Jimenez was out for most of the year, but now he's back, or at least he was back. And they just still underperform at the dish. I do like them much more with Pillington or whatever the guy's name for the Guardians on the second game because he's a lefty. They're much better against lefties, obviously. So, second game, if you can find the right number, possibly that would be a good spot to hit the White Sox. But the first game here, the way I see it, I would put more value on the Guardians over the White Sox. Second game, Houston with Justin Verlander against Seattle. Seattle obviously had watched their streak come to an end last night. We were on Houston, like Houston against lefties. So, and Marco Gonzalez is a guy that against a team like Houston that hits well, a guy like Marco Gonzalez can get tagged up because he's not going to K a lot of guys. He's going to rely on location and not getting hit as hard. Houston's just not that type of team. As we saw with, I think it was like 3 solo shots right off the rip. Is what it is. With Verlander here, I'm showing there's, a line to like -150 for Houston, 126 on the Mariners with Logan Gilbert, and the over-under set at 7. Shoot, how do you see that? Logan Gilbert's okay, but I don't think he's as good as people say he is. Got an expected slugging of 422 and expected batting average 260. Meanwhile, Verlander is Verlander, and he's pretty damn good. I would just pass on this because I think Houston wins, but I'm not really willing to do 150. I think that's just a little too rich for my blood. So moving on. Next game, Toronto Blue Jays against the Boston Red Sox. What can we say about Toronto last night? Putting up 28 runs, and most of it against the Red Sox bullpen. That was just not good. It wasn't a good look from the Sox, and I'm a Sox fan, so really tough for me to watch that game. Luckily, I had bets on other games. I had an MLB subscription, so I could just watch something else. But definitely a tough one for us last night. What can you say now? The Blue Jays got their stud going in Manoah against Cutter Crawford, who strikes out 28% of the guys, and it's got a low expected batting average of 220. And Blue Jays are kind of the hot bats. So what are you going to do there? -148, a little too expensive for my blood. -1.5 if you really think that the Blue Jays are going to smack them around. The Red Sox bullpen is getting worse. They're right about in the middle of the league. They got a 3.91 ERA. So nothing to really stop me from betting the Blue Jays here, except on the money line. It's a little too rich for my blood. And then the Red Sox, they're just kind of disappointing right now. Moving on. Also, to note, if you are a DFS player, it's going to be another really hot game. So I would say get your pitching value where you can, and then get your sticks in, because I think that's going to be another high offensive day. And we see these in these numbers. I mean, there's only, I think, one game that's at 7, and that was the game I believe we just covered in Houston. Yeah, so a lot of high over-unders today. Next game, moving on to Philly, Chicago Cubs, with Marcus Stroman going on the mound against this year. It's got just overall strong pitcher. Marcus Stroman, on the other hand, doesn't walk PKs a good amount, but gives up a lot of hard hit balls. And then the Phillies, you got to kind of wonder what they're going to do with life after Bryce Harper. The last 30 days, they're kind of middle of the pack, 17th in the league in WRC plus. Actually, I'm sorry, I had that filtered wrong. It's WRC plus Philadelphia. Where are they? They're 20th. So even worse. Struggling without Bryce Harper, but they're going against a guy in Marcus Stroman that you don't really have a lot of confidence that he doesn't get hit hard against right now. Showing the current lines and this kind of reflects all of what I'm saying here. Marcus Stroman and the Cubs are plus 141 underdogs, and meanwhile, Zach Wheeler and the Phillies minus 170. You're not going to lay that much on them, and I am one to not lay run line on a home team because I'm really only expected 8 at bats. So just overall, good old stay away spot. The over under of 8, you would really have to expect both teams to contribute for that over at 8 at even price. Maybe you can get at 7.5, and you like it. Current weather in Philly, let's see, it's probably hot just like everywhere else on the East Coast. 96 degrees, wind blowing out to right. Heads up for all you lefties. DFS Kyle Schwarber might be a bomb play. Moving on. We'll just move on from that game. Next game, Minnesota and Detroit. This was actually a game that I actually had some interest in last night, but now I'm kind of seeing the numbers and I'm not really as interested. We'll pass on it. But this was going to be the Twins run line. I'm seeing it now at minus 110. Last night it was plus 105, and I really like that. You're seeing it on the money line too. It's minus 180 for the Twins, Michael Pineda, and the Tigers at plus 148 on the underdog roll. Over under set at 8.5. Listen, Joe Ryan's actually got pretty dang good numbers. Expected batting average is 217, really good. Doesn't get hit hard. Doesn't K as much as you would like, but doesn't walk a lot of people either. So you kind of take that with it. Michael Pineda, the only thing he doesn't do is walk people, but he gets hit really hard. And the Twins have they have a strong lineup. Carlos Correa's got really good numbers against Pineda. Who else does? Max Kepler actually has really good numbers. He's got 2 bombs against Pineda as well. Just up and down the lineup, you expect Buxton to do really good. Nick Gordon's actually a guy that's been really surprising for that Minnesota team. If you are going to take them, I would take them at that run line at minus 110. Like I said, I liked it a lot more at plus 105, and now at minus 110, I'm going to just pass on it. Moving forward, zipping right through here, that's kind of how I like to do it. St. Louis and Cincinnati, the 2 lefties. Mike Minor going for the Reds, and Steven Matz getting a chance to go. What can I say about these 2 teams when it comes to hitting lefties? The Cardinals at a lot of points this season were the hardest hitting teams for the lefties, and that kind of makes sense with Goldschmidt and Arenado kind of leading that way. Currently against lefties, they're 4th in the league in WRC plus, so love that. And then when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds, where are they at? Losing them 21st in the league in lefties. So obviously the value there is on the Cardinals. You kind of see that with the run line and the money line. You have to lay 1.5 runs to get even odds for the Cardinals, and then minus 158 on the money line. Over under set at 10.5, so that's getting higher. It was at 10. Probably we'll see 11 here soon. Obviously, the weather has some stuff to do with this. In Cincinnati, it is very hot. Let me find that. 110 right now, humid as hell, winds blowing out to left. So expect a good amount of runs in this game. That's why we see that high total right now. That high of a total, you ain't. I'm not going to touch it. I'll just walk away from this one as well. If I see anything live, however, Cincinnati Reds have an atrocious bullpen, worst in the league. Arguably, you could say that with Kansas City as well. They don't have that great of a bullpen, but right now, as far as ERA, 5.42 ERA coming out of that Cincinnati side. So live, that is the way I would lean it, especially if you can get some extra value. Moving on, let's just go with, gotta slide this over. Ooh, Max Meyer and the Miami Marlins facing the hit pretty hard. He obviously has good stuff. Getting up into the big leagues is going to be tough. He faces Quintana, who is a lefty, and if I look at the lefty numbers, dead last and WRC plus sits Miami against lefties. So you could say a little bit of value here on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We've seen that overnight. Last night they were plus money. Today the Pirates are at minus 105 as the dogs. I think there's value there with I don't really trust Quintana, but at the same time, Miami doesn't hit lefties that well. And Max Myers, he has potential, but he's still going to have to adjust to these big league hitters. And there's a little bit of baby bombers in that Pittsburgh Pirates lineup. So the baby Pirates can hit. I would lean a little bit of value there on the Pirates. Moving on. Slamming through this, love it. New York Yankees and the Orioles. This is obviously going to be leaned heavily taxed on the Yankees, and that is the case. To lay a run and a half with the Yankees, you'd have to lay 140, minus 240 on the money line. What can I say, guys? You can't touch those numbers. They're way too high, especially for this game of baseball. And honestly, with the Orioles, they're a good little team. Scrappy at the dish. If I look at the last 30 days, WRC plus Baltimore, they're right in the middle of the league, but we kind of saw last night as well. They do not give up, especially at their own ballpark. Just an overall good old team that makes that AL East much deeper. Not going to hit the Yankees there, and this isn't because I'm a Red Sox fan. It's more about the money. Minus 140 is a hell of a price to pay to lay a run and a half, and minus 240. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of people that do it that will automatically see the minus 240, the minus 280 on the Brewers, and maybe Braves. They'll hit those three and they'll just try to win them all, and could work out, but I think overall the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze on that one. I think the Yankees win. I think they win well, but I mean, how much are you going to really lay to take a run and a half? I have no idea. I'm just going to move on from that game. It is expected to be very nice weather as far as hitting wise. So all you DFS guys, obviously the Yankees are expensive. I see that and kind of the ownership as well. You got to expect Garrett Cole is going to be heavily owned too. I would have him as the pitcher to take tonight because not a lot of strikeout value in a lot of these pitchers tonight. Moving on. Let's talk about San Diego Padres and Blake Snell going against Chris Bassett and the Mets. So the Mets start the year out really hot at the plate. We all expected regression. Up and down the industry, from what I saw, was calling for regression on the Mets, and a regression came. But they face a San Diego Padres lineup that's still trying to figure out life without Tatis. Blake Snell, lefty, he does really good in strikeout rates, but he also struggles with walks. Has good expected slugging and expected batting average numbers, but can get hit hard. Against lefties, this Mets team, right in the middle of the pack, 17th in WRC plus, And recent hitting, the Mets, like I said, regression came 22nd in WRC plus, but San Diego Padres are right behind them. In 25th in WRC plus over the last 30. Just both two struggling offenses going against two good pitchers. The weather is going to be really good in New York for hitting, but I think this would possibly, if it inflates the line. Current line right now for this game, we see the Padres at plus 128 dogs and the Mets at minus 153 as a favorite. Over under set at 7.5. So you can kind of see that that's a low line, especially for a good hitting weather. But I think it's justified since both these offenses are pretty bad as of late. Tampa Bay Rays and the Kansas City Royals. This is a game that we hit last night, and it just seems to have repeated itself. Now I understand Luis Patino is going for the Rays and Brady Singer is going for the Royals, and Brady Singer hasn't been bad at all. Just pretty dang good. Doesn't walk anybody. Has a decent strikeout rate. Expected batting average 238. Take that all day. Only thing is he does get hit hard sometimes, but nothing that you really should worry about when it comes down from the Tampa Bay side, where they don't hit as many home runs, but they do hit well. I will mention that. Luis Patino on the other side doesn't really strike out a lot, doesn't walk out a lot. Had an expected slugging in his last start of 400, expected batting average 250. Didn't get hit hard, but did give up some home runs. And then what really jumps off the page here, over the last 30 days, Tampa Bay offense has come right back. They got leapfrogged last, obviously, with Toronto scoring as many runs as they did last night. Toronto's now number 2, which bumps the Rays right down to 4th. But 4th in the league of a WRC plus of 120 over the last 30 is really good. And I can't see why. Now, Patino doesn't go deep, but the Rays have a really good bullpen as well. They are top 6 in the league. They have an ERA of 3.4. So really good bullpen out of the Rays side. So you got to expect that, a lot of it is going to be controlled on their end. Minus 115, I would say value there, especially when I'm going to get all 9 at bats. Like I said earlier with the Royals bullpen, one of the bottom 5 as far as ERA is concerned, but you do a KW ERA and they're actually in the top 2. So you really got to see if they are one of the worst bullpens in the league. Only more value on the Rays side, in my opinion. Minus 115 is a good lean. Moving on, let's see what the next game is. Sorry, I got to switch some pages here. Colorado and Colorado Rockies and Jose Urena face the Milwaukee Brewers and Brandon Woodruff. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a brain fart. Brandon Woodruff, what can we say? He's really good. He's going to expect him to be chalky on the DFS side tonight. He's got a 30% K rate, and Colorado strikes out decently. So you got to expect that he will be chalky. Other than that, you look at the line right now, it is also what you would expect. Minus 280 on the Brewers, plus 225 on the Rockies. But, you could have said the same thing last night, and the Rockies ended up taking it, actually. I fell asleep during that game. Holy smokes. I honestly forgot, guys, so sorry if I'm wrong on that. I'm not going to take the time to see. But it was at least sketchy. If you're going to lay that much, you don't want going to extras. So that can be said. Lesson learned for those guys that like to bet minus 280. Everybody's got to learn at some point. Better get out of the way early. Like I said in the second game here, with the actually, I'll stay on the Brewers real quick. Sorry, really having a brain fart here. Too much on the Brewers to really take them, like I said, and then over under 8.5. It is going to be hot up there and possible bad weather, but honestly, they have a roof, so what does it really matter? Yeah, it's 100, cloudy. Some precipitation. They got a roof. They're going to close it. It's going to be fine. Over 8.5 is really hard to hit. Even with Urena, I expect the Brewers to be able to hit them well. And on a DFS side, I can totally see a stack there, but nothing that I'm willing to play with. Just going to move on. That game really messed me up for some reason. Let me just leave that one in the dust. San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers. We have Alex Wood facing Julio. Obviously has really good numbers, doesn't walk any nearly at all. 24% Alex Woods, and that's decent. Game is getting played in LA. The latest weather update I have for that game is nice, beautiful day, 80 degrees, wind blowing out to right center. Obviously, a great day for some baseball there. Both these teams against lefties. Dodgers number 8 in WRC plus. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Giants are 6th in WRC plus. So a little sneaky there, but Julio Urias is the better two of the pitchers. Seeing the current line at Dodgers minus 175, and you got to expect that. And they're always going to be a little extra tax on the Dodgers. However, with the Giants sitting at plus 144, I would say the value sits on them. I would avoid this game at all costs either way. But if you must take it, I would say the value's on the Giants. Dodgers probably win because they're just the better team, but you can't lay minus 175 every single time and expect to come out on top. Moving forward, Los Angeles Angels and the Atlanta Braves. I expect this one to be chalky. A lot of people on the Atlanta Braves. That is obviously expected. They have they're 3rd in the league in WRC plus, hit really well. Have a 343 WOBA. They hit lefties really well. And Patrick Sandoval is okay in the heart as far as limiting hard hit rates, but this is a different type of lineup that he faces. Gets in trouble with some walks, so opportunities should be plenty here for the Braves. Meanwhile, Kyle Wright, not a great pitcher, but not bad by any means. Just very, I would say, above average. 24% K rate, expected slugging at 377, expected batting average 239. All numbers that are at least favorable, especially against the Los Angeles Angels lineup, where if we look at the last 30, they're number 1 in K rate. They have a 30.5% K rate and a WRC plus that is dead last. Yes, that is dead last of 66. So very tough lineup. We saw how bad this lineup can look without Mike Trout in it last night. So the line obviously makes sense. Minus 210 on the Braves, plus 170 on the Angels, over under set at 8.5. I do, like I said, expect runs on the Brave side. And if you can expect that maybe the Angels provide 3 or 4, you can make a case for the over. The current weather there is wind basically blowing slightly in, but it's almost dead. At 100 degrees, so weather should be able to carry the ball decently. If you think that the Angels are good for maybe like 3 or 4, like I said, Braves should get 6 here. Is what it is. I'm not going to be able to bet it because, like I said, I have rules in place. I'm not going to lay a run on run half on the home team, expecting 8 at bats, and minus 210 is just too much over a period of infinity, essentially. Moving forward, Anibal Sanchez and the Washington Nationals travel to Arizona, where it's going to be really hot, but they're going to close the door. So it's going to be a nice big stadium. Madison Bumgarner, minus 158 favorite. And Nationals, you can get at plus 132. What can I say? Guy like Alec Thomas is probably a good value play tonight for your DFS guys. Over under set at 9. Like I said, it is going to be hot, and these pitchers aren't necessarily great. However, with that roof closed, you're not going to get any of that heat or weather effect. And it's a giant stadium once they close that door. So that's a high number. That's tough to do. Let's see. think we only have one more game. Last game is Texas and Oakland. Oakland got one from Texas, Matt Bush. It'll be an opener for that. Decent numbers out of the bullpen for they are actually, I would say that's top 10. I'm just eyeballing it. Now they're 13th, but 3.68 ERA is not bad. Nothing to really worry about, especially with the Oakland offense. I know Oakland took one from them yesterday, but he's going against James Caprielin, I believe his name is. He's not very good. 15% K rate's bad, 10% walk rate, almost 11% walk rate's bad. I would say the value here will be back on the Texans. Now, I don't see a line right now, so what that will be will really dictate what if you bet it or not. But that's kind of how I see this game going. Matt Bush, really good opener, and then Texas has a decent bullpen to at least get them to the other side. Meanwhile, Oakland doesn't have a great offense. They are one of the worst in the MLB. So that's kind of it. Was able to get that video done in 26 minutes. Let me kind of review what I had here. I had Cleveland money line at plus 105. That was last night. It's now, I think it's at minus 110. So that's kind of up to you, I would say. What was the other one that I had? Sorry, we'll have to just look at my opens. Tampa. So Tampa Bay Rays minus 115. Sweet. And then that was it for me. Only two. No volume here. Volume is the enemy, essentially. But that is what I have, guys. I hope you guys like this video. New way of doing it. I think it's a little bit quicker and better for me in the long run. So videos. Always follow me on Twitter at Spittin Seeds Ryan on Twitter. And then also feel free to like and subscribe to the page. You'll be able to basically see us every time we go live. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay cool.